All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Watch the Obsession live stream, chat, and discussion. Thank you guys for being here to take part in the chat and discussion. And tonight, we are going to be talking about the tragic case of Madeline Soto. Stephan Sterns, the boyfriend of mother Jennifer Sterns, has been charged with first-degree murder. And I just want to say hello to those of you in chat really quick before we get going and see how familiar you are with the case to see if we need to do any catching up. We're going to be listening to some recently released audio that I have found the following three channels are responsible for getting these audio released to the public through FOIA requests, which is, let's see, Plunder. We love Plunder. Grizzly True Crime. We love Grizzly True Crime. And, oh gosh, what is the other one? The docket. So those three channels, I'm going to link them in the description. Those three channels are great resources for this case. They have been doing the work. They've been putting in those FOIA requests, asking law enforcement agencies to release audio, video, visual, picture, whatever it is, footage to us, so we can have a better understanding of what happened in this horrible case. So welcome to those of you that are here. Hello, Wenli, welcome. Laura, welcome. Matt, how are you doing? Miss DMGZ, am I supposed to pronounce that differently? Let me know. I'll correct myself. Hey, Karen, how are you doing? Hey, Utter, so great to see you. So much lately, so wonderful. Hey, Stephanie, how are you doing? Hey, Kez, thank you for everything you do. You're wonderful. And let's see, who else did I see here? Edward Schwank, welcome. So nice to see you, my friend. Thank you for being here and watch the obsession. Oh, that's me. And let's see, if I miss anybody, just say hello. I didn't skip you on purpose, I promise. I'm just trying to kind of roll through this, say hello to a few of you, and welcome you into the live stream and chat. Hi from Wisconsin. I've never been to Wisconsin. Welcome. I'm in upstate New York. Can be a little Wisconsin-esque from what I understand. Much different than the big city, New York. So I'm just, hey, Midge, how are you doing, sweetheart? So wonderful to see you, Midge Elkins. Hey, Cool Breeze. Hi. Welcome. How are you doing? So I'm just going to play a little tiny bit of a video that I put out a while ago just to give us a very brief overview of what this case is about. And then we're going to get into the more recently released audio interviews of, I think the most interesting one is the one with Stephan Sterns' parents, Deb and Chris. And there's also a rather recently released audio interview with Jenn Soto. And I don't know, just starting off from the gate, do those of you in chat have any thoughts on whether you think Jenn Soto has guilty knowledge of this horrible crime that happened to her daughter, or is she just, an innocent mother who is grieving the loss of her daughter? I should put that up as a poll, as a survey question, and maybe I will. All right, let me just bring this here into the stream. And no, I want it to be this bigger. There we go. That looks good. All right.
My daughter was dropped off close to school this morning, but never made it.
Madeline Soto went missing last February, the day after her 13th birthday party at her grandma's house in Kissimmee, Florida. Her mother, Jennifer's long-term boyfriend, Stephan Sterns, age 37, was arrested 2 days before Maddie's body was found and appears to have done the unthinkable. One good look at his arrest affidavit is enough to make any sensible person feel absolutely sick to their stomach, guys. It is freaking disgusting. The initial affidavit does not include the possibility that he was the one who also claimed Maddie's life. It took nearly 2 months from the day Madeline disappeared to Sterns finally being charged with first-degree murder. He is currently awaiting his first trial, the CSAM trial, which is almost sure to land in a conviction. I mean, it's absolutely gotta land him a conviction. Because guys, if you haven't heard, wait till you hear about the pile of disgusting, despicable evidence that stands against this man, this monster. Madeline disappeared on February 26th, less than 1 week after her 13th birthday. It's believed that she was killed after her party on Sunday evening or in the early morning hours of Monday. Just released on June 5th, 2024, is the body cam Now, this isn't just released. Again, this is a video I put out a little while ago. So when I put it out, this was just released, but it's been out for a little while now. I just want to play a little bit of it. This is this initially released police body cam footage of their initial interaction with Jenn Soto and Stephan Sterns, just so you can get a little taste of how they were behaving when they were initially questioned by police.
Do they speak English?
Yes, this is Mom.
This is Mom? Okay. Hi there.
Hey there.
Hey there. What's going on?
So my daughter was dropped off close to school this morning, but never made it. I went to drop her to school.
I'm sorry, 1 second.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
Are we looking for another kid or we have a kid?
Looking for another one.
Alright, so people are still on the scene, let's put that out. Any possible location, how long?
I'm trying to get there right now.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
So she was supposed to be dropped off at school, didn't make it to school.
Didn't make it to school. I went to pick her up from school today,
Okay.
and she never came out. They announced it over the speaker, and I'm just like, maybe she walked here, because sometimes she'll walk here to this office.
Mm-hmm.
I came here, nothing. I went back to the school, they were closed. I got an email from the school saying she was absent, but I also messaged her teacher, and he looked at her entire attendance today and saw that she was completely not at school today either.
Okay.
So she never made it.
Okay. What's her name?
Madeline. Madeline.
Madeline. Last name?
Soto. S-O-T-O.
Soto?
Yeah.
Date of birth?
February 22nd, 2011.
February 27, 2000.
22nd,
Oh, sorry. 22nd,
2011.
2011.
Just her 13th birthday.
1418 Charlie Worldwide, what's the name of the single agent?
Madeline Soto, age 13. I'm trying to get a clothing description now. What was she last seen wearing?
26 County Charlie Worldwide, people hit my call 931 the same call.
Green hoodie.
Green hoodie,
Crocs.
white Crocs,
Either blue or black pants.
I think black shorts.
Black shorts.
Yeah.
black shorts. Okay. Black shorts. All right. Do you know if she has like friends in the area?
She does, but she doesn't know where they live.
She doesn't know where they live. Okay.
I asked all of them.
Okay.
Now, something that I think we watched the Deception Detective, one of his videos in a previous live stream, something the Deception Detective I think correctly points out here is that parents who don't have guilty knowledge of their child's disappearance or a crime that happened to their child, they are going to leave every possibility open. He pointed out the fact that Jenn Soto said, yes, she has friends in the area, but she doesn't know where any of them live. Like, I've already checked it out. Like, don't worry. A parent that doesn't have guilty knowledge of what happened would never say that. They'd say like, oh yeah, she has friends in the area, and check them all out. Make sure that you find out where they all live, get their contact information, please interview them, find out if anyone has anything that they know about my sweet daughter, Madeline, please find out. But the way that Jenn Soto responds is very definitive. Like she already has all the answers because perhaps she already knows her daughter's fate.
Okay. Is this like, does she like have any places that you guys know that she'll usually be at? Any friend's house? Any places that like she likes to hang out?
Typically,
No.
Not typically? Okay. Just give me 1 second. Let me see if I get some.
Thank you.
No problem. And what school she goes to?
Hunters Creek Middle School.
Hunters Creek Middle? All right, cool. 125. Do you have a picture of her? Can you airdrop it to me?
Yeah, I know. Let me see which picture. I don't know which picture.
With you recently, probably from a birthday party, right?
Yeah, but I wasn't there, so I have to look at. What's up? Me again.
Go ahead. That's what I'm about to grab right now. Yeah. All right, cool. Thank you.
Is this a good enough picture, or do you need a whole
Yeah,
body
that's
picture?
Ah. ¿Cómo así? Dime, que si pone igual.
Put my eardrop on.
I got you. Okay, where's the photo? Right there.
It's on WhatsApp.
That's fine. Let me see.
I saved it to my photos, so you could go.
You saved it to your photos?
Yeah, we can just
Perfect.
go straight to the photos.
Okay, perfect. Give me a second. I'm gonna send it out right now.
That night, the very night that Madeline went missing, Stephan Sterns was active on the app Telegram, which is notorious for its end-to-end encryption. That means you can communicate with others on it essentially anonymously, and there is nearly zero possibility of your conversations being tracked or commemorated. Madeline was reported to have been missing since Sterns dropped her off near her school, but an official missing child report wasn't filed until that evening after her mother went to school to pick her up around 4:30 p.m. At that time, she was told that her daughter had not been in attendance all day. As we took a look at in the beginning of this video, just recently released, body cam video of Jenn Soto and Stephan Sterns at the police station was released to the public. Let's take a look at more of that recently released body cam video.
By any chance, does she have a phone number or phone?
She does, but she left it at home today. I have it.
You have it.
And I've already gone through her messages.
Okay. How about, does she have like Apple Watch?
She's got a device. The only device she's got on her right now is her school laptop.
A school laptop? Is that trackable?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
It should be.
If the Wi-Fi is turned on, it'll try to connect to the Wi-Fi. So if I like circle here.
Well, does she know all the history of running out later? She was hanging out and that kind of thing?
Possibly, I don't know. She got dropped off. She was like, so she's gonna battle this by his car. So she didn't want to be dropped off at school. She wanted to be dropped off like half a block away so she can walk.
Send in this thing, she's in the face.
But he dropped her off half a block away, and
It was reported that Maddie, as she was known, was last seen outside of a church wearing a green sweatshirt, black shorts, and white shoes. The recently released body cam video shows Sterns saying exactly that. However, this, as stated by police, was likely not at all the case. Now, if there was a girl at the church that morning with that description, we unfortunately know it was not Maddie, because by that time, she had already been deceased. Maddie's grandmother says that it was really unusual for Stephan Sterns to be the one who took Maddie to school. We should also note how Stephan Sterns seemingly drove her to school an hour early, which may have been to avoid having witnesses that would be able to corroborate his story or wouldn't be able to corroborate his story, depending on, where he inserted the lies that mixed in with the truth. He also said that Maddie refused to eat McDonald's breakfast and that she was sleeping throughout the car ride. That McDonald's breakfast was the whole premise of why Stephan Sterns says that they left so early for school, like over an hour early, that they had talked about going to McDonald's to get breakfast, but by the time they got there, he said to Maddie, "Hey, do you still want the McDonald's breakfast?" And she was like, "No." And so they just went without it. It just was a really nonsensical story to begin with.
Woke up around 7:15, somewhere around there, which is an early start for us, but we had talked about getting McDonald's breakfast beforehand, so we wanted to make good time. We did make good time. We got out the door maybe 7:30, 7:45-ish, maybe. Got over to that area. She was asleep in the car most of the time, just snoozing until we got there. We got to McDonald's. We're close to McDonald's. I said, "You still want it?" She wasn't interested in the McDonald's anymore, so we continued on.
While she could be seen in the car in morning security camera footage, she was almost certainly already deceased at that point, according to police. Apparently, she was slumped over severely to her left in a way that was very unnatural for a sleeping position, even a sleeping position while you're sitting up in the passenger seat of a car. Shockingly, as Maddie's mother pleaded for help and her daughter's safe return in one of the interviews that she gave, Stephan Sterns is visible in the back, loitering around while knowing exactly what he did, and it was horrific. He can be seen nervously fidgeting, cracking his knuckles, and making his constant presence known to his girlfriend. During the interview that's also been released, where he surrendered his phone at the end, Stephan Sterns made some odd and ultimately self-incriminating statements. One of those statements was that he dropped Madeline down the street from her school, about half a mile away, instead of right at the school gates like usual. His excuse was that Maddie was in that typical phase where kids sort of feel self-conscious about being dropped off right in front of the school gates. Well, he specifically said that Maddie was embarrassed by her mother's car. He called the car a hoopty and said that Maddie didn't like to be seen getting out of the hoopty. I had never heard that term before for a kind of busted up car, but apparently it can be called a hoopty.
It's her mom's car, but my cars are, I guess, kind of hoopties. I get it. It's an image thing. She doesn't like being seen getting out of certain cars. Being a middle schooler, it's an image thing.
Sterns also made the further mistake in his timeline of events in which direction he was driving. There was a police officer that was questioning him. Well, there were two police officers that were questioning him, and right on the spot he said, "Well, then why was your car seen at 8:10 a.m. going in the exact opposite direction of whatever direction he said he was going in?" And Stephan Sterns just said, "Oh, I left my clicker back at the condo. Yeah, I left my clicker back at the condo." And, the police officers questioned him, "Well, was Maddie in the car with you when you went back to get the clicker?" And he's like, "Well, yeah." And he's like, "Well, why were you all the way to the school, essentially? You realized you forgot your clicker and you took Maddie all the way back to the condo with you to get your clicker, only to take her all the way back to the school." I mean, seriously, it made absolutely no sense.
Why is your car seen going southbound at 8:10? I'll show you what location it is. McDonald's is over here.
Mm-hmm.
At 8:10, your car is seen going southbound at this intersection. So meaning going toward Kissimmee.
Mm-hmm. I had forgotten something. I had forgotten my gate clicker. I'm sorry. I forgot. I had gone back to the house real quick after we left because I forgot my gate clicker. I actually had to go through the front gate and use my parking pass to grab my clicker. So it was the wrong time. I'm sorry. Like I said, I was guesstimating these times. I'm not a morning person.
Okay.
So yes, we've gone out.
How far did you get before you came back down when you realized you forgot your clicker?
Nearly all the way to the school. And then we turned around. We had plenty of time to kill, so it was time to go back. I rushed back, got the clicker, and that's when I came back here this way.
So you guys came back here to get your clicker?
Correct.
So when we look at the cameras in the front, it's going to show you coming back in
Correct.
here with her in the car?
Yes, with her in the passenger seat,
Okay.
yes.
I know it sounds like we're asking you stupid questions, okay? We just
No,
want to
it's
verify
okay.
the
I'm
times.
sorry I'm not being more helpful. I'm not a morning person. I was half asleep as it was. I'm trying.
Sherry, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. I appreciate you. I'm so glad you're here as always, my darling. Thank you and thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And welcome to everyone who came in, including Guilty of Crime. Guilty of Crime is a channel, friend of this channel. We love Guilty of Crime, who has also covered this case extensively, along with the other channels I mentioned in the beginning, who have done a lot as far as FOIA acts, get us the information that we can see here. I just want to read a couple of comments. We'll finish up this, and then we will go into the statements from, well, a little bit from Jenn Soto, but those are really boring. But I just want to give you a flavor of how she's answering questions. And then from Deb and Chris Sterns, Stephan Sterns' parents. So Tyler asks, they have a video of her leaned over in the car. Yeah, apparently for a long time, the way they describe it, it's very abnormal. She's leaned over to the left with her mouth open, and they describe it as being in a very unnatural position. Like if, you know, a kid was being driven to school, they're still a little bit tired, they fall asleep, you just kind of nod off. It wasn't like that. To anybody who was watching the video, it seemed to be extremely abnormal and alarming. Isn't that so sad? Yeah, I know, it's terrible. And so far, for those of you who have, I'm going to have to go back to our poll, but overwhelmingly, when I looked at it last, there was like 40 votes. And the question was, do you think that Jenn Soto has guilty knowledge? They were overwhelmingly yes, in the 90%. So I have to go back to that, though. Let me read a couple more comments here. And here again, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Allison says, his voice makes my skin crawl. Oh, no doubt about that. There's something special about Stephan Sterns, and it's special in that really horrifying kind of way. Allison also says, for someone with anxiety and panic and all these sleeping problems, the amount of calm Jenn was trying to portray always seems very forced, in my opinion. I agree with you on that. Honeybun says, Jenn looked to Stephan for what to say and put 100% faith that what he said was gospel. There's a reason. Jenn's family relationships are strained. She makes very poor decisions like a child makes. Really good observation. I agree with you on that for sure, Honeybun. Yep. Yep. Hey, Marco, how are you doing? Nice to see you. Yeah, that's what we're going to be listening to. Marco says, have you seen the interviews with his mom and pa? Even they admit that he is a liar and one strange dude. Yep, that's what we're going to crack into in just a minute here. Cool Bree says, y'all remember when this dork tried to be slick telling the authorities he accidentally factory reset his phone? Yeah, I know. Even his dad was like, there ain't no way you can accidentally factory reset your phone. We all know that, you know. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Welcome. I'm going to call you TT, who needs enemies with Jenn Soto and a completely absent dad. Oh, I know. Isn't that terrible? Hey, John McSmith. Great to see you as well. Nice to see you, my friend. Always glad to see you here. All right, I'm going to keep playing this, and then we're going to do some more comments, and we're going to get into those statements
Clickers
from
to get
Chris and Deb Sterns.
to get where?
Into our neighborhood.
Okay, and you forgot the clicker where?
I had forgotten the clicker here.
So how did you get in?
I was able to use my parking sticker for them to scan to let me through.
Okay, so could you not have done that after you dropped her off?
I could have, but I also like to come back in from the back gate a lot of the times, and I didn't know if I would be back right away. And sometimes they're busy up front, so it's better not to wait in the line.
What time is security usually there at the front gate?
They were there when I came through. He scanned my ticket.
So would it have not just made more sense to drop her off and come back since security's already there?
I don't know if it made more sense. It's just what I did.
That morning, Maddie had also coincidentally forgotten her phone at home. When she was still missing, her mother, Jennifer, blamed her forgetfulness and her ADHD, as did Sterns. But we know now that her ADHD had absolutely nothing to do with her leaving her phone at home. Even if, with all of the evidence, Stephan Sterns is found innocent in a court of having taken Madeline's life, there is little room to explain away why he had an extensive collection of explicit material featuring a child who is believed to be Maddie at their family home and on his phone, or why his phone coincidentally reset to the factory settings on the very day that Maddie disappeared. It is also reported that he tried to get rid of other evidence like Maddie's school issued PC and her backpack by throwing them in the trash in the early morning hours of February 26th. That was the day she went missing. Stephan Sterns first arrested on 2 counts. Count 1 was battery, and count 2 was possession of CSAM, which is inappropriate pictures of those who are very young. He had recorded
Initially, then of course he was charged with first-degree murder.
And deleted instances of his abuse, which the investigators were able to recover. Man, imagine the investigators having to look at that. It is usual for police to arrest suspects on lesser charges, although the lesser charge in this case sounds like a brutal understatement. Before bringing out the ultimate capital charge once enough evidence had been gathered, which is precisely what happened. So we have the CSAM charges and then the capital murder charge. My gosh, what kind of animal is this man? The most damning evidence has to be the inexcusable sexual material, assumingly of Maddie, contained on his phone. From the first arrest affidavit, although it's partly censored, what is readable is horrifying. So horrifying, in fact, that you will immediately understand why, allegedly, Maddie texted her friends shortly before her disappearance saying that she intended to go live in the woods when she turned 13 years old. My God, that is so sad. More recently, on March 12th, Stephan Sterns was hit with another 60 new charges. At face value, this tells you investigators were getting ready to bring the hammer down on Sterns. But while the evidence for these new charges was not circumstantial, but very much tangible, they were still meticulously building a homicide case against Stephan Sterns. The 60 charges break down like this, guys. 8 counts of sexual battery on a child under 12. Oh, I'm so sorry to read this. Trigger warning. My gosh. Number 2, 5 counts of sexual battery with a child 12 to 18 years old. Number 3, 7 counts of lewd and lascivious molestation. Number 4, 40 counts of unlawful possession of materials depicting sexual performance by a child age 10 or more. In other words, the number of images and videos that he had of his assaults on Maddie is in the hundreds. And they started before she was 12. We don't know 3 important things that could complicate the already complicated case. So one of those is whether the videos were for his own private depraved use, or if he went even further and distributed those videos. For example, his use.
And now we're gonna hear his parents speak to that a little bit about, the idea that he may have been distributing, those photos, not just keeping them for his own personal disgusting gratification, because Stephan Sterns didn't have jack squat for like work ethic. And his dad talks about a number of times how he was wondering how when Stephan Sterns' father, Chris, was not paying for things, how things were getting paid for, because as far as he knew, Stephan Sterns didn't have any money, didn't have any way of making money. So it just makes this all the more horrifying, really.
Of Telegram, the evening that is considered one of the possibilities when Maddie lost her life, the evening of February 26th, is something that people return to saying, well, what was he doing on Telegram? Is that how he's distributing this garbage? So point number 2, if he had other videos of other children that he abused, where are those children? Who are those children? And what did he do with those videos? And then question number 3 is, did Maddie's mother purposely lie when she said she saw Maddie on the morning of February 26th, the day she went missing? She said that she saw her getting ready in the morning before she went to school. We now know that that was not possible.
Also, seriously, disturbingly, we know that due to the release police interview transcript, that Jenn Soto not only was aware that Stephan would, on occasion, sleep in bed with Maddie when she was not around, when Jenn was not around. So the boyfriend and the 11, 12, 13-year-old daughter would sleep together when mom wasn't around. Seriously, great. To this day, guys, it's unclear if Jenn Soto was aware or if she suspected that Stephan Sterns was taking advantage of her daughter in the worst possible way. She did, however, get to see an explicit picture. It was a piece of evidence that depicted people and body parts that she should be able to recognize. But Jenn just denied recognizing anything in the photo. She said, I don't know what that is. I don't recognize anything in that photo. And it's just too dark. I don't recognize anything. Clearly, I'm sure, well, I think it's clear that that was her mind protecting her from what she was seeing. She was in denial. Even without a murder charge, the 60 counts meant that Sterns was facing life in prison in the state of Florida if he's convicted. But now with the first-degree murder charge, he may well receive the death penalty if found guilty of the heinous crimes. He is still in jail at the Osceola County Department of Corrections without bail. It is no stretch to assume that Maddie had wanted to flee to those woods due to the monster at home that she so badly wanted to escape. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to. All that we can hope now is that Maddie is at peace and that Stephan Sterns will pay for his horrific, heinous, egregious crimes.
Yeah, somebody just, I want to read a couple comments here. Yeah, the amount of CSAM, the amount of images on his phone was absolutely insane. The information that's coming out now is absolutely mind-blowing. Let's see. So somebody just made a reference to Maddie's makeshift. Okay, hey, how are you doing, friend? Maddie's makeshift bedroom looked like an Asian massage parlor, not a bedroom for a 13-year-old. Yeah, they had Jenn Soto had 2 paying roommates in her condo, but Maddie's bedroom was this like partitioned off area of the living room. I mean, she's a just turned 13-year-old girl. She needs privacy. I mean, I have a teenager here at home. The child needs privacy. I mean, any kid growing up need privacy. They need that for self-development, for self-respect, because their bodies are changing, because they're trying to get to know their own boundaries. To have a partitioned off section of a public space as a bedroom for a child when you have rooms that could suffice as a bedroom for that child is absolutely unacceptable. When Lee says, I'm sorry, but if anyone ever touched my child, I would be in jail myself. Absolutely. I think that's how a parent should feel, you know? Oh my gosh. Sherry says, I'm sorry, Jenn knew more than what she is saying. Yeah, I agree too. And thank you so much for gifting a membership. Chick, you're awesome. Thank you. So somebody has a new What's the Obsession membership. Woohoo! Guilty of Crime. Again, go check out Guilty of Crime's channel. She has a lot of content on this topic. Guilty of Crime. Jay says, yes, Jenn definitely has guilty knowledge. She even told the police that Stephan Sterns was grooming and abusing her daughter. She told police she has knowledge. So yeah, I mean, that isn't even the question anymore, is it, right? Why hasn't she been brought up on charges is the real question. Ooh, I'll have to go back and check out your live stream from earlier. Yes, for sure. Let's see. So I'm going to bring into the stream here just a little tiny bit of the most recently released interview with Jenn, just so you can kind of hear how she's responding. But I think the far more interesting interview is the interview with Stephan Sterns' parents, Deb and Chris, where there is a lot of information that is revealed. So, all right, so let's switch it up here. Okay, just to get a little taste of this. Yeah.
Or when did he arrive, rather, this time?
I can't remember if he arrived Saturday or Sunday morning.
Okay, talking about when Stephan Sterns came into town.
He moved away back in December, so I'm gonna say he's visited at least 2 to 3 times since then.
Okay. Why did he move away?
He was offered his dad had offered him a job, but it fell through.
Oh.
So now we're trying to get him back here.
And he just visits.
Yeah.
When he visits, does he stay for like hours, days, weeks?
I would say days. This time we had planned on him staying a whole week because I was going through training at work. So I wanted him to be here to help me with the dog, help me with the training.
Okay, so this time he was planning to stay for a week. How long has he been here? Or when did he arrive, rather, this time?
I can't remember if he arrived Saturday or Sunday morning.
Okay, that's fine. Sometime this weekend?
Yeah.
So that was last night around 11. And so about what time did you hear her on Monday morning?
I heard everyone getting ready around, I'm going to say 7:30, 8 o'clock.
So here she's talking about everybody getting ready the morning that her daughter apparently disappeared. And she's just so casual and, I don't know, like forgetful about things. It's unreal.
And was it just Steph? Who else lives here?
I have roommates.
Okay.
I have Angelica Negro. There's one roommate, and then Natalie Rosiero.
And it was also found on Stephan Sterns' phone that he was taking pictures of the one roommate, Angelica, from underneath, like the door jamb, like the investigator was able to recreate the angle. So he was taking pictures of the roommates from underneath the doors. He's just a disgusting bastard.
Okay. And you just heard all of them, or did you hear anyone in specific?
No, I just heard, if anything, Stephan came and woke me up accidentally because he was trying to let the dog out.
Mm-hmm.
And the dog gets really nervous sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to help him with that, get him on his leash. But he got him situated and took him for a walk.
Okay. Did you hear around 7 or 8?
I heard noises in the kitchen, but I'm not sure,
Not sure who it was exactly.
Who it was exactly, yeah.
Gotcha.
It could have been any of the roommates.
But you didn't see her leave Monday morning. Were you still in bed or still in your room?
I was still asleep, yeah.
Gotcha. What time does she normally leave for school?
We usually leave around 8:50 at the latest.
Okay.
Okay, so this is horrible audio, by the way, also. So you get a little taste of how Jen was answering these questions. So now what we're going to move over to is what I think is far more interesting. This was a recently released interview between the police and Stephan Sterns' parents, Deb and Chris Sterns. So let's bring that into the stream here.
We're both on diets. We're taking, she's taking Ozempic, I'm taking Manjaro. And I've lost nearly 40 pounds.
Wow.
Great.
And but I just have to keep hydrated all the time. It's just always thirsty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for meeting with us this morning.
Our pleasure.
This has been a long few days, long week, and I can imagine what it is for you guys.
Full of lots of surprises.
Yeah.
We're in the South Ringville.
Can't imagine.
So the reason we made the trip down here today is I know you spoke to Alex, I think, yeah, with Orange County, and May spoke to Corporal Ilgen that works with us.
Is he this tall, slim guy?
No,
Is
he's
he at Orange County?
I think you may talk to him out in the parking lot in Orange County.
Yeah.
bald guy, probably wearing a sweatshirt.
No, that didn't work. There was somebody else I thought was from Kissimmee PD, but
Mhm.
and I thought actually you were him, but obviously not.
So
You better look at him.
appreciate it. But since I'm the lead detective and he's my partner in the case, we kind of want to get eyes and talk to everybody that's involved. That's
I
the
really
reason.
expect you guys. Yeah.
So the reason we're here is basically try to get a background of what you know about Stephan and Jennifer's relationship and that sort of thing, stuff like that. So we can do it one of two ways. I can just give you guys the floor and you can let us know what the dynamic was, or I can do it question and answer wise, whatever's more comfortable.
Well, if you do a question and answer wise, you'll get the answers that you wanted. If you let us sit here and ramble on for half an hour, you may not get what you want. You still have to ask the question.
Fair enough for me.
You can fill in the gaps.
Yes.
All right. So, any idea how long Stephan and Jen have been in a relationship?
7 years.
7 years.
7 to 8 years somewhere.
Okay. And was it constant throughout those 7, 8 years, or on and off? Or
They were friends first, close friends first, and then it evolved into a romantic relationship. I think probably the first 18 months was just friendship, and then it changed from there. And no, we did not like the relationship.
why not?
Didn't prove
No.
Why?
she was had influence on it because of her
Drugs.
well, drugs plus I think she was taking medications for depression, anxiety, what have you, and I just didn't feel that she was going to be a good influence on her.
She's bipolar. She's bisexual. She's a drug addict. She had a young child. The family was disapproving, and she was sharing those drugs with Stephan. And I don't approve of vaping. We don't do any drugs. We don't even drink. I can't even take specified medication for pain because my body rejects them, and I get really sick from them. So, I mean, went through her surgery over Tylenol.
Wow.
So it's
They slept all the time.
Yeah.
And you know, we had a hard enough time dealing with Stephan sleeping all the time, and now he's got a relationship with somebody else that does it as well. It's like they were feeding off of each other, and none of it in a positive way. And that's why I disapprove of a lot of Stephan's.
that's the only thing. Yeah, only thing her mother and I approved of together was the fact that we didn't approve of the relationship because if Jen started spiraling down, going her holes of depression, she took Stephan with him. If he was depressed, he brought her in, and it was just always like a balancing act with those two. This is not good. It's not a good dynamic.
You know, when you said they were always sleeping like constantly,
Yeah.
were they taking medicine to go sleeping, or they were just?
They would fake out.
Yeah. Well, Stephan has a sleeping disorder, sleep apnea. So he's been tested for it, and his he would be up all night, sleep all day,
Okay.
type of deal. And
Which is not a hallmark of sleep apnea, by the way. Whoops, I gotta find the video here. You know, sleep apnea is going to present much differently than what he's describing here. I think, you know, his parents very much are struggling here with understanding the absolute monster that their child is, trying to be honest and helpful, but also, you know, kind of taking this all in themselves because I'm sure it's not easy. So I am always trying to give them, you know, as much credit as I can.
feeding off of each other, and none of it in a positive way. And that's why I disapprove of a lot of Stephan's.
That's the only thing. Yeah, the only thing her mother and I approved of together was the fact that we didn't approve of the relationship because if Jen started spiraling down, going her holes of depression, she took Stephan with him. If he was depressed, he brought her in, and it was just always like a balancing act with those two. This is not good. It's not a good dynamic.
You know, when you said they were always sleeping like constantly,
Yeah.
were they taking medicine to go sleeping, or they were just?
They would fake out.
Yeah. Well, Stephan has a sleeping disorder, sleep apnea. So he's been tested for it, and his he would be up all night, and sleep all day
Okay.
type of deal. And we really didn't have that much physical interaction with them.
Mhm.
These are things that we just observed from a distance, and trying to talk to Stephan at times, but we just really didn't have any social activity to speak of.
When Stephan would be here in town, like what would his routine be? Would he is he a homebody, or?
He locked himself in his room, and we would see him maybe once in a while. Tell him dinner's ready, but he was constantly in his room all the time.
He was painting his little minis for Warhammer.
Sounds like a teenager. You'd be like, oh yeah, dinner's ready. We'd be like, dinner's ready. We put dinner outside the door. He's painting his little his little minis for his whatever game. He's painting his little minis and staying inside of his room. We put dinner outside of his door. This is really highly, highly, highly dysfunctional.
He spent a lot of time doing that. A lot of time learning the new books as they came out. A lot of time online. We did go play Warhammer with the guys once a week. Tried to get him to go to the beach. Tried to get him to go to church. Tried to get him to go shooting with us.
That church would set itself ablaze if he walked in.
Want to go?
Feel like it.
Just no motivation.
And he walked around with Jim on the phone on FaceTime all the time. I would in the kitchen. I would look up and I would see Jen, and she's like, what? And I look at her eyes. I said, Jen, are you baked? And she says, oh yeah. I'm like,
Mrs. recently or throughout the years?
The last few weeks, yeah.
Okay.
He wasn't. I brought him back in December because I was supporting him living there, and I didn't know that I was supporting the whole family.
Mhm.
Again, Stephan's great at omitting information, not being transparent with me, and I just reached the point and said, I can't afford to have you working for Disney,
Mhm.
and there's always a deficit in his budget for one reason or another, but somehow he had expensive toys and what have you. Where the money?
And where did he make that money? Which makes us question all the more. What did he do with those videos and photos that he had of him doing illicit things with Maddie? It's so disgusting. And just in case you're wondering, with this expensive hobby or Warhammer game or minis that he was painting as, I just had to look it up. I had no idea what this was. Let me just bring it up into the stream here. So this was something that, he was into. So what do we have? Warhammer. So whatever this little game set is, Warhammer 40,000 starter set, $95. A fantastic way to begin your journey into the Warhammer 40,000 hobby. Includes basic rules for the games, plus dice, a gaming mat, reference sheets, and range rulers. I don't know exactly what this is, but it sounds like a money-eating nonsense hobby, particularly for a 30-something-year-old man who could not hold down a job and had all kinds of illicit, disgusting side habits, side crimes. They're crimes, I don't know what to call it. It's just so outside the realm of what most of us can understand. See, was this it? Or, yeah, I think.
He came for that. He needed it after he arrived here. Packages were arriving. I said, well, I'm not giving him any money. Where the hell is Stephan? It's money I saved, and I'm sitting here going, Bohica. You know what Bohica is? It's an acronym. Bend over, here it comes again. Mm-hmm. And, he called me up and said, well, I'm short of funds. Can you, sell me $150, send him that. But meanwhile, now he's telling me he's got money in savings, which I didn't believe. Mm-hmm. So where the money was coming from, I have no idea. But
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry to make that bad connection for you. I'm sure your grandson plays this in a totally healthy, age-appropriate way. I'm just betting that is the case. Anything that this man does is inappropriate and, outside of the norm, but I'm sorry to make that connection for you.
These packages just kept arriving.
When you would support him, how would you get him money?
I sell it.
Okay.
And I paid him, Juan charged Jen rent, and then in November of 2022, the reason why I know that, because I looked it up the other day. I said, how far back have I been paying rent there? But he started charging Stephan rent, even though he was sharing a room with Jen.
Mhm.
And then they decided that they weren't going to be in a relationship anymore, and he took over a full room, and now I had to pay $600. And so this just kept escalating. He wasn't taking care of his car. I was waiting for that shoe to drop. So finally, I said, I can't afford you to live there anymore, and I moved him back here.
Mhm.
And I thought, we had hoped that the year that he had spent at Disney, that he had matured and was now, accepting responsibility and had a disciplined routine, and that I could bring him back here and help him maybe develop into something with a better career path than working for Disney forever and not getting anywhere, because
Mhm.
at $30,000 a year, he couldn't support himself if he wanted to live on his own.
Right.
And that turned out to be a huge disappointment, because he fell right back into his same MO. Locked himself in his room, wouldn't help us around the house. And we were like on eggshells, because when he was here, it was always tension because of his sleep disorder, and the dogs obviously are not the quietest things in the world.
Right.
And, they have their routine. We have our routine. So we let them out in the evening, and it's chaos with them. We let them out in the morning, it's chaos. But for the most of the time, they're at feeding time, they're quiet,
Mhm.
But again, that would disturb him, and didn't want to cause a flare up with him.
So when it would disturb him with the dogs, was that during the daytime, or was him trying to sleep at night?
Oh, it could be any time.
Oh,
If
okay.
if anybody comes to the door, get a package, a rat farts in the yard, doesn't matter, they hear it.
Mhm.
I
So
have
if
a-
he's sleeping during the day and we're doing our daily routine, there's going to be distraction. If I come in the house and go, hey, I'm home, they'd be a lot of party.
Mhm. Right.
So, but I would just hope that he was soundly sleeping, and that he would just sleep through it. But occasionally you would hear a bark down from him.
Or if he had his headphones on.
So when you said you brought him back in December, do you remember when? First part of December, end of
I have to look
December?
up. It'd be early part of December, because I was trying to get him out of there. I thought it was the end of November. It could have been at the very end of November or the very first part of December, because I didn't want to owe another month's rent. I wanted them out of there.
But did he mention if they were split up at that time, or if they were still?
Well, they were supposed to be officially broken up.
Mhm. Did he ever say why they broke up?
They just, well, I mean,
Yeah.
yes and no. I mean, Jen told me as recently as last week, she didn't want him as a partner.
Mhm.
She realized that he was not going to be a good partner, but I assume that they both recognized that they wanted to go their separate ways. And I would say that occurred several months before, because there was one time he mentioned he was socializing with somebody at Disney, and that didn't go over well or something. She didn't like that. So
So we both told him he would never get into a healthy relationship until he got away from her, because what are you gonna do? You're renting a room, you're gonna bring a new woman into your room with your ex in the next room?
Mhm.
I mean, that's a bad recipe.
Did this ever happen within the last 7 years? Did they break up and get back together and that sort of thing, or?
I don't think so.
I seem to recollect that there might have been a pause in that relationship, maybe to the extent of how involved the relationship was, and maybe it became more social than more of a relationship type of thing.
Mhm.
But again, clueless as to exactly the extent of how involved the relationship really was. I mean, I always thought it was just good friends and sex with benefit type of thing.
Mhm.
But I don't know how committed they were to one another.
And that was going on all the way up until December.
Well, actually,
You think?
before December, because like I said, when he went into the room on his own, that basically was probably the time that the relationship ended. So
Mhm.
Yeah, the mom is going to stay here soon. She says that she phrases it like, whether she had a dream or not, who knows? But she says, I had this dream. She says, maybe I have a little bit of psychic ability. Who knows? That Jenn Soto walked in the room, in Maddie's room, in Stephan's room, and they were in a state of undress. and in realizing the inappropriateness of the situation at hand, she basically reacted, and it was her hand who took Maddie's life. She says it wouldn't be by gun. Someone would have heard that. It would not have been a stabbing. There, you would have found blood. It would have been maybe blunt force trauma or broke her neck or something to that effect. And then basically Stephan was just then the go along boy from that point. She'll say it eventually here.
Do you remember when that was? You said November?
Yeah, I'm gonna try it. Let's see. He left in December, maybe 3 or 4 months before he pulled out of there. I think I only paid 3 or 4 months at 600, maybe 3 months. I'd have to look it up.
Do you know if when he came back here in December, was he ever making trips back to Kissimmee at all?
There was I think 3 occasions he went back. This last trip with when all this stuff happened, a trip before that, and then he went back for Thanksgiving, or he was there for Thanksgiving. So
Thanksgiving and Christmas.
yeah, so he wasn't invited to the family events, and but he was there at that time.
Okay. I'm assuming just visiting Jen, or was he visiting other people?
He was visiting Jen.
Yeah, I wouldn't know who else he would be associated with at that time.
Okay.
I don't think he had any relationships outside of Jen. Maybe I think there was a time or two he mentioned that he was going to go out with some cast members after work. But
Errol was one of them.
Yeah, but that's the only time.
Has he ever lived in Kissimmee prior to meeting Jen?
No.
No. Okay, always here in Northport, or has he lived out elsewhere?
Well, we moved here.
Windermere.
We moved here in May of 2020, so he was always at our home there, or he lived here. And then we finally got him out of here, and there was an opportunity for him to go live in Kissimmee.
Okay. But with Jen is when he went to
Yeah, not on his own.
They were both supposed to be working at Disney together, but she can't keep a job
Do you know why?
because of the bipolar.
Well,
She doesn't want to lose her state benefits.
but depending on the type of work, she had back issues or something, so she couldn't do physical things. Now she did have a job as a concierge that didn't require any pressure or stress on her back or something. But there was always something that prevented her from working. Couldn't do dog sitting or whatever job it was. It would last no more than 2 weeks, and then she'd be back.
And she was going to go to school for nursing, and I'm thinking, oh my God, save the world.
Well, then she was going to get into graphic design.
Oh yeah.
Dad bought her an Apple computer thinking she was going to take these classes or online, and that didn't last long either.
And you're hearing this from
her,
Stephan? Oh, from both of them. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And everything that we're basically telling you is a lot of it's hearsay from what we were told. We didn't physically observe this, any of this stuff. Very, very little interaction with them. When they were here, they were either in Stephan's room. Maddie always slept with Debbie, but Maddie floated around here, played with the dogs, did things that little girls do, what have you.
We did some arts and crafts together.
You were teaching her knitting?
Crocheting,
yeah.
Yeah, so Maddie went to visit the Sterns parents with Jen, her mother, and Stephan when Jen and her mother would go to visit them, and they talk about, her visiting and what she was like. And they talk about, the sleeping arrangements when she was there. Apparently Maddie stayed with Stephan's mother in her bedroom with her because of how the sleeping arrangements were. And they seem to have a lot of, kind of intimate information about Maddie and about all of their interactions together, like as a unit, like Jenn Soto, Maddie, and then how they would interact with Stephan. And yes, a dog did hit on the back wheel well of Jenn Soto's car. We don't know anything more about that, but that is true.
So that was going to be my next question. So Jen and Maddie and Stephan came here to visit at some point, or a few times maybe.
Yeah. Well, if he was here living here, she would actually come down.
Yeah.
Okay.
But again, very few trips. The last trip we saw them was we didn't see, but I think we saw them early 2023, and then maybe for Thanksgiving 2022.
Okay. And then when they were here, you're saying Stephan and Jen would sleep in or would hang out in Stephan's room, and then Maddie would sleep with you, be with you. Okay. Why is that? Do you know?
Number one, he's a slob. Number two, he only has a queen size bed.
Okay.
And number three, I didn't think it was a healthy environment.
Mhm.
They were going to have her sleeping on the floor, on the sleeping bag. And I said, I have a king size bed. I sleep on 36 inches of it.
Mhm.
There's a whole side of a bed.
Mhm.
Why can't she be comfortable? So I just insisted that she come in with me, and I had the dogs with me. So if she got up, what Jen used to tell me was, she would wake up in the middle of the night, and she'd come and climb in bed with them.
Mhm.
I said, well, you're gonna have the dogs here. If you get out of bed, you're gonna rouse the dogs up.
I got you. Did they ever talk about their sleeping arrangements at their house in Kissimmee?
Just what I just told you, that,
Mhm.
that if she had a bad dream or something, she would come in, and I told her as Maddie got older, because we've known Maddie for 7 years, we watched her grow up. I mean, this is very hard. But she sweet girl she was, but then she started, in the last year, she started showing signs of bipolar as well. And Jen was horrified by that. They were butting heads like two rams. They were fighting all the time, and they're presenting a very different family dynamic than what they told us was going on.
And you witnessed them butting heads, or?
No, I would be on.
Now, in depth, Stephan Sterns' mother characterizes this as Maddie was starting to show signs of bipolar as well, but maybe it was just Maddie coming of age. She's 12, she's a preteen, she's turning 13. This might, just thinking of your own children as they entered into various stages, of ages in their life, your interpersonal dynamic becomes different. So who knows if this is Maddie showing signs of bipolar, as Deb Sterns says, or if this is just Maddie starting to interact in a different way with a mother who is, maybe as we're finding out, I dare say it, is not the, upstanding figure that we want to be the, epitome out there as being a good mother. Let's just say like that.
On the phone with Steph, and I would hear them going at each other in the background. That's, and I would say, what's going on? Well, Maddie and Jenny are at it again, and I got to go break this up. So he would go be the peacekeeper. But I just put that down in puberty. She started puberty at 11.
Right.
It's hormones in me, but anyhow, she developed quickly, became pretty precocious, and other than that, I don't think she had a lot of friends at school.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that she was a very social person. She had been, if you remember, Stephan and Jen both told us that after she began developing physically, that there were some boys at school last year that would push her up against the wall and grab a heel and bully her.
Mm-hmm.
And they were having a hard time with the school getting it stopped.
Mm.
But anyway, when they visited here, she was either out here or they were watching movies together. But when it came to sleeping time, she was definitely in Deb's room.
Okay. Any time where either Jen and Maddie would be sleeping in that room without Stephan, or okay, so the only person that would separate from them would be Maddie when she was sleeping with you.
And like I say, she was always floating around because she was bored. Looking for something
And
to do.
before that, as you see the holes, we had a TV there. We didn't have one in my room that was big, very big, but we moved that one. So I would sit out here with Maddie when they were in there, and we'd watch TV together too. We even got the Disney Channel for her, so she'd have it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Stephan Sterns' parents have a pretty good understanding of Maddie, of a child at her age, and we had a pretty good and realistic understanding of her and what she was going through. Obviously, not knowing all the horrible things that were going on. And them talking about in their son, in retrospect, on the other hand, is a little like out there. But again, we have to remember what it is, the information that they are trying to understand themselves. They raised this monster. Can you imagine?
Do you know if Maddie or Jen, when they were sleeping here, did they take medicine at night or anything like that you know of?
Thank you, Chick Tracy. Chick just gifted 5 What's the Obsession memberships. Thank you so much for that. And Kez has gifted 2 so far. So a lot of you here are going to be getting memberships. So thank you guys so much. And welcome to those of you who just got memberships, and to everybody here.
No,
Or did Stephan take any, has he been prescribed any medication?
He has been prescribed an anti-anxiety medication and a ADHD medication. He's got Adderall and something, clomidine, some for sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the first part of it is, but
Really didn't know his medical routines at all, hers or Jen's, other than the fact that
she was always changing medications.
Mm-hmm.
she was, I think, taking medication for depressant and
Like
anxiety and bipolar, but I don't know anything beyond that.
she had a prescription for medical marijuana.
Medical marijuana.
So she vaped all the time and she shared it and stuff. I wouldn't allow it in my house. I don't like the smell of it.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to read this comment. I when I was listening to this is exactly what I thought. And Clark says, I don't appreciate Deb diagnosing Maddie as bipolar. Maddie was suffering from trauma. That's exactly what she was expressing, symptoms of a child who has been severely traumatized. And thank you very much for saying that. I think you're spot on with that right there.
I said, if you're going to do that, you have to be outside. You just can't bring it in here.
Now, after Stephan moved back here in December and he made the trips back to Kissimmee, would he drive the silver car, your
No, that's
car?
the first time he ever drove.
No. He drove the silver car
Oh, that's
because
right.
his car was in dire need of servicing. So I said, last thing I wanted to do is go 2
Surprise,
hours
surprise.
north and be stranded. Now I'm dealing with a disabled car.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that car was up in maintenance, so I let him drive that car.
What's wrong with his car?
It's 1,000 miles over service. The brake jobs need to be done. He hasn't taken care of that car at all. It's probably going to need about $2,000 to $3,000 worth of repair on it. I'm sure if I take it in, I'm sure it's going to be $2,000 to $3,000. AC was been acting up on it, but I didn't trust it for long trips. If he was just if he was in Kissimmee commuting to Disney, that's one thing, but not long trips.
Right.
Matter of fact, I had him tow it down here, not drive it down.
Got it. So is it safe to say this last time he came and then maybe Thanksgiving or Christmas is when he took the silver car, or Thanksgiving?
So this last time, then he made it. When he came down here, he made a trip. When he first got down here, he made another trip back to get more stuff.
Okay.
So that was one trip, and then there was a trip in between. I guess he went up for Christmas because I think he was here for Thanksgiving. And then there was this most recent trip. So as far as I know, I think it was just 3 trips.
Now, when he would come back from there, would he have like loads of stuff? Like, I don't want to say furniture because
It would just be leftover stuff that, for whatever reason, he had a 10-foot truck
Mm-hmm.
and just the front end of it and all of the back was available.
So he rented a moving truck to grab.
I rented it.
Okay.
It was more truck than he needed. And why he didn't get everything he had was ridiculous because basically Dane came down to his typical modus operandi. He waited till the last minute
Mm-hmm.
and then didn't have enough time to put stuff up there or whatever, but he didn't bring everything back with him.
Got it. Did he say why he didn't grab his stuff?
He didn't have to. Well, basically, if he did, it wasn't enough. He didn't have enough time. It's like bullshit. He had weeks to plan for this. I kept on him about that. He's completely opposite me. I start to organize stuff and get stuff done, not wait till the last minute. But he waited until the last minute. Very frustrating.
How long was he in Kissimmee when he made these trips?
Well, he stayed up there. If he went up there, he was up there for the day. Maybe he stayed up there a day or 2.
Mm-hmm.
Usually. 2
No
nights, 3
no
days.
rush to get back. No urgency to come back.
This last time he went up here, or to Kissimmee, did he say why he was going to Kissimmee?
Her birthday.
Her birthday. Okay. Did he say he was invited to a party or anything like that? Or
I think he
Maddie
was
called and
asked
him to
to
please
go.
come.
and you heard Maddie call? Okay.
Yes.
And do you remember when that was? Because I know she had a party on Sunday.
Mhm.
Do you know
Was
when?
it Saturday
I guess.
or was it?
To make sure he was coming.
Something odd went on Saturday. I don't know if was the invite on Saturday? Or did he just say Sunday, I'm going to Kissimmee?
No, I knew the week before because I found
Okay.
the gifts for Maddie.
Okay. He seemed to be very upset. Matter of fact, he came to me, he said, do you have any anxiety medication? I go, no, sorry, don't have anything like that. Everything I have is for diabetes or heart. And then he went to Debbie, and she said, I don't have any. And then he came back and said, well, I found some 4-year-old stuff. I said, oh, okay. But he was suffering from high anxiety, man. I don't know what he was stressed out about.
When was this?
Sometime in the evening. I don't know.
Oh, Saturday or
Saturday.
days prior to that?
Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah. And then he's making, and then I guess the medication worked, and again, he looked like he was like very stressed out.
Have you ever seen him like that before?
Yes. When he was very stressed out. And is like, better tiptoe, not sure if he's going to blow up or not. He seemed like he was calm enough, but I didn't know if anything could trigger him or not.
Did it seem like he was more in fear of something or scared of something, or just?
It was a different, other than, being really upset about something, it looked like he was stressed out over something. And obviously he never shared any of his feelings with us. And I had no idea it was stressing him out. But something really had him upset.
Angry upset, or just not that type of upset?
Not angry upset, but just something worrisome. Just seemed like there was something that was really preying on him, and it was not settling well with him.
And that's when he told you guys he was going to Kissimmee, or did he tell mom prior to that?
Well, he was making plans to go to Kissimmee, and I don't know exactly when this happened, whether he told me on Saturday, but I knew he was leaving Sunday because we talked about the expense of that trip. And he said, well, Jen's going to pay for the trip, because I was done paying for this stuff. And he said, well, Jen's going to pay for it. I said, well, go down and fill up the car, and I'll take care of that. That would be enough gas for him to get up and get back, because that's all he was going to do. And so I'm assuming that the plans were submitted on Saturday, but you're telling me that you knew about it a week in advance, and maybe he started planning that a week in advance, but I wasn't aware of it until the last minute.
But he didn't have this fearful reaction earlier that week. It was just that Saturday.
Yeah.
Did he say how long he planned on staying in Kissimmee?
A week.
A week.
Yeah. We were planning on him to be gone for a week, because we were welcoming the break.
What did you buy her as a gift? You said you got her a gift?
I had ordered something, and they look marvelous, but then I got it, and I think this is really probably too juvenile for me to wear. It's called Mermaid's Beads, and it's made out of sea glass, and it was a dual color bracelet, and they had the stud earrings and the same thing, and they were kind of opalescent. So they're really neat. It's by No Goo, and it's mermaid tears. But I said, these are still in the box. I've never even worn them. I said, why spend money on something? This is something she would really like, because I knew her enough to know this was something right up her alley. And I said, this is $90 worth of a gift, that's just going to sit where it could be doing good someplace, somebody could enjoy it. So just gave him the boxes and said, are you going to gift wrap them? He said, no, I'll just take them like this. So.
How did you guys come to hear about everything that happened on Monday?
So I tried reaching Stephan. He called me when he got to Kissimmee Sunday.
Any idea when he called you?
I know exactly, because I wrote out the timeline this morning.
Okay.
6:48 p.m. But then I noticed on some pass that he was out around 8:30, 8:48, and there were 2 some pass tolls. And I said, well, maybe they had gone out or something. But I said, okay, that's a little weird. So that I tried to get a hold of him several times Monday morning, or maybe noonish or so, maybe as late as 2:30ish or something, and then I get a call from him at 3:17.
Mm-hmm.
And his voice sounded a little off to me.
So now he's talking about speaking to Stephan Sterns on that Monday. That Monday, at this point, we know that Maddie would have no longer been alive.
I thought, well, maybe he was just, tired and maybe he didn't get a good night's sleep or what have you. And then during that conversation, he says, oh, by the way, I had a flat tire. Radar goes up. I go, what do you mean you had a flat tire? Where could you have gotten a flat tire? And I'm not going to say you can't pick up a flat tire anywhere, but he's just driving from here to the apartment and shouldn't be driving anywhere else per se. Oh, I just got a flat tire. Okay, where? 192. And then he described the fact that the tire was so flat that he ran the rubber off the wheel. Okay, 192, plenty of places to pull over, and you're driving the rubber off the wheel. So then he described that he was changing the tire and that didn't have it set right, and the jack collapsed somewhat and trapped his thumb between the frame and the jack and didn't hurt himself severely. And I think the conversation lasted about 3 minutes. And I said, well, let's get the car into a tire place and see what's going to cost to repair it. I'm sitting there counting, it's going to cost me several $100s for this now. And then that was it. And then 4:54, I'm just getting out of the car, meeting a customer. I'm going to take him to a house, and he calls, and he says, I'm en route to Maddie's grandmother. There's been an occurrence. I said, well, that's a strange word to use, but okay. And then I'm thinking, well, this is weird. 2 events in one afternoon, the flat tire and now this. And so he said, well, I took Maddie to school this morning and I dropped her off just down from the school because Maddie didn't want to be seen dropped off in front of the school because I'm not driving a cool enough car. I said, okay, well, I understand that. Teenager, peer pressure, what have you. And he said, I watched her walk towards the school out of the rearview mirror as I pulled away. And so then he goes on to describe that she wasn't, it's been reported that she wasn't at school. Like, we went to pick her up and she wasn't there. Then we come to find out she hadn't been to school all day. And then he starts to describe that the area is a high abduction area. Kids are stolen for abducted, kidnapped for sex trafficking. And that there's a good chance that she's been abducted. Typical questions. Well, what have you done to try to locate her? Have you contacted her old friends, social media? Where's her phone? Oh, she left her phone at home. Oh, okay. Yeah, she does that from time to time. And it was a 3-minute conversation, and he was sobbing. He was really sounded upset that he was holding himself responsible for this. Same routine that he did in that Tuesday interview. I think he was rehearsing it on me. And it was exactly the same routine, same explanation, the whole deal. And so then I kept in touch with him throughout the evening because they were waiting for police to show up, and it was hours, and I just kept checking in, any news. And then that was it until Tuesday. And then I didn't talk to him again until Tuesday. Maybe it was the afternoon. And again, just trying to get an update. What's going on? And then as the day expanded, then police were now more involved. And there's interaction between, I guess, your department and the 2 of them.
When backtracking to Monday, so you talked to him, you said you tried calling him. When you tried calling him, did the call go right to voicemail, or did it ring a few times?
Combination of all of that. I mean, let me get my notepad.
And by the way, Jen had mentioned several times that Maddie was going through a phase where she didn't want to look uncool, and that it had become their routine to drop her off 1 block from school and pick her up 1 block from school.
And she told you this?
Yes, yes. And never said anything about it being a high traffic area or anything like that. She just said, it's a straight shot. We can see the school. There's an overpass. We make sure nobody's in the overpass, hanging out. And so we just watch. And then Stephan said he took her by himself. And then in the interview, Jen said, we dropped him off. She said it several times. And so I don't know if, do you want any conjecture or no? The conjecture is that she and Maddie are the same size. She wore Maddie's clothes with the hoodie up to cover the dark hair instead of the light hair. And that was Jen himself sitting at the church in the picture. Because obviously, from what we've heard, Maddie was already gone by that time. So this elaborate charade put on for everybody's benefit. And she's cool, calm, and collected, and he's a sobbing, wet mess.
So my call to him at 2:25 was 2 seconds, so no connection. And then he called me at 3:17, and that conversation lasted 3 minutes.
And you said he was upset at that time, or he seemed?
No, he seemed off, and I said, well, maybe the anxiety medications or what have you was keeping him somewhat kind of flat, monotone in a way. Nothing upbeat about it. And then, matter of factly, I had a flat tire. We talked about that, and then.
Did he plan on taking the car to a tire shop? Did you guys confirm that plan?
I told him to. I said, he's driving on a donut. And we both confirmed that, the donut wouldn't last long and that, he needed to get that quickly replaced. And I expected him to do it. I didn't expect for him to do it that day because that's not Stephan's modus operandi. I expected him to do it the next day. So then I didn't hear from him until he called me at 4:54. And that conversation lasted 3 minutes. And as I said, I heard this story about him dropping her off at school and the whole abductions thing, and I heard that even more later in the evening. But I thought to myself, how strange these 2 events happened, and within a short time of one another that afternoon.
Did you question him about it or no?
No, I didn't think about it. When the call came in, and he starts telling me that this is just a thought I had. It's kind of strange that. Coincidence that there were two incidents like that in that afternoon.
Okay. So moving on, you spoke to him around 4-ish, and that's when he said Maddie's gone missing.
Yeah, more close to 5.
Okay. And then you didn't speak to him again until the following day. Is that
correct? I talked to him for 7 minutes at 6:02.
Okay.
6:02, and then again for 5 minutes at 6:22.
And is that just to get updates, or what's the conversation you're having?
Well, it was me. He called me at 6:02, and again, just briefing me, letting me know what's going on. There was an out call at 2 minutes at 6:18, and then another one at 6:22 for 5 minutes. And both of those, I was making the calls. And then nothing again until Tuesday at 12:16, 3 seconds there, and then out at 6:32, 1 minute. I'm not even sure if we had even a conversation. So that was, and then after that, no more calls from his phone. Now Jen's calling me on her phone.
Okay. Did they tell you why?
There was a conversation about whether the police wanted his phone and whether he should give it to him. And I said, do you have any reason not to? And he said, no. And I said, then give me your phone. Let's get this cleared up. What really upset me was in one of the conversations I had with him when it became apparent that he was going to be a person of interest. I said, well, you had your phone. You can document where you've been. Well, I left my phone at home. Okay. Let's backtrack. Were you anywhere that a camera could have caught you? Where'd you go? And it didn't sound like he went anywhere that a camera could track him. So I said, well, I understand that, but I'm not sure, where a camera would have been. But, thinking he was innocent, trying to help, pinpoint where he was so he could document his whereabouts, because of my understanding, there was a 2 hour gap between when he supposedly dropped her off. And then, when he returned home, because he said he called Jen at 10:17. And in fact, my understanding why he called Jen at 10:17 was to get back into the community because she had to call him in. He didn't have his clicker.
Okay. Is he tech savvy?
My impression, no, but I'm hearing, hearsay from other people that he may have been. But when he told me that he was doing a OS update on his phone and it accidentally wiped out his phone, I cried bullshit. But there's always that one off. It could be, but when he starts saying, well, yeah, I accidentally pressed the button to reset, then I knew it was bullshit.
Good for you, Daddy. At least, they're calling him out on something. So I'm going to end this here. If you guys want to continue to listen to this, we can do this again, tomorrow night, Friday night. I'm going to be doing a Watts live stream. Moderators, if you know that, I'm going to be scheduling tomorrow. We can definitely continue listening to this together if you guys would like to do this. Actually, my computer's starting to run out of battery and my charger is in my car. So, yeah, but you guys are, making a lot of great comments and observations here. The bottom line is, let's see, I want to read a couple of these things you guys just said here. Angie just said, we were talking about mandated reports and says, oh, see, those interviews I heard were done right after Stephan Sterns was arrested. And I believe they know she was visiting the school counselor a lot, according to a couple of them. So it'll be interesting. Yeah, it will be interesting to see what comes on the trial, because those mandated reports I do know are sealed. I'm a mandated reporter myself. I make mandated reporters anytime something comes up where I'm mandated to make a report. My rule of thumb is I'm not supposed to insert my judgment in there. If something comes up that falls under mandated reporting, for me, that means there's an agency that needs to look further into it, and that is not me, because I have a different job, and whoever's job it is to look into whatever I am reporting on, I just pray that they are doing their job fully and completely and well, and that they're trained and that they are taking their job seriously, right? It's a really difficult situation sometimes, or a difficult system to be part of at times. Broken Wing SC says, regardless of what anyone says or thinks, the bottom line is his own mother gave her to that monster by sending her to sleep with him in another room. I agree with you. Why? I can't imagine doing that to my child. I cannot imagine it either. I mean, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. So yeah. So I think I'm going to end things, guys, here. But we'll do another. Are you guys interested in doing another live stream? Continuing to listen to these soon. I can schedule one for tomorrow night. Let me know, yes, no, in the chat here. Yeah, and I hope you were able to work through those, gift and membership issues. Thank you, moderators, for walking people through that. Yes, you would like to? Okay, I'll schedule that probably for tomorrow evening. Yeah. Yeah, it seems like that may have been the case, Sabrosa. Hey, Anaphylaxis, how are you doing? Anaphylaxis says, if a grown man wanted to sleep with my daughter, there would be big trouble. Oh, hell yes. Hell yes. And that's exactly how it should be, right? No doubt about it. So yeah, this is a rough one. So I'll schedule another of these tomorrow night around 9 p.m. Eastern so we can listen to more of this together. And then there will be a Watts live stream on Friday night. And thank you guys so much for being here, being part of the conversation. We hope to find justice for Maddie, all that can be done at this point. And thank you so much. And thank you, moderators. I appreciate all of you.